Yes, welcome everyone here to the Smash Sport Show right here on Smash FM here on lockdown Tuesday here in Melbourne. Of course, let's turn our attention now to netball in particular and speak to our favourite VNL club, that is the City West Falcons. And of course, in the next couple of weeks or so, we are going to be interviewing a couple of the Falcons players, of course, especially those who are currently based in the country, of course, in this case, interstate as well. Of course, a bit about what's been like in the country, and especially how they managed to travel all the way to Melbourne to play for the Falcons this year in particular. But of course, we've got a very special guest, of course, as I mentioned. She has to travel interstate to get to Melbourne to play netball. Of course, she joins us right now. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
No worries. Well, I'll get you to introduce yourself and tell us, I guess, whereabouts in the country that you come to us from.
Alrighty. My name's Vashti, and I'm actually from New South Wales, a tiny little town called Henty, which is about an hour north of the border, Albury-Wodonga there. So I grew up here playing netball because that's about the only sport you can play in little country towns. But so ended up loving the sport and wanted to keep getting better. So obviously I had to do a bit of traveling to kind of get that good coaching and just those skills and stuff. So I did a bit of traveling. So about an hour I would have traveled to play a next level up. And I made the big decision this year to head to Melbourne to play in the VNL League. So it's about a 4 and a bit hour drive all the way out to Altona. So those couple of trials and those odd trainings were definitely a big day. But moving to Melbourne made it a little bit easier. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned obviously you're from country New South Wales. Obviously the restrictions there is not so bad in this down here in Melbourne at the moment, and obviously for the rest of Victoria. I guess for you, what have you been doing in, I guess I wouldn't say isolation for the fact that obviously the restrictions are not so bad where you are. What have you been doing to sort of during these times to sort of get yourself motivated, and especially to keep that fitness up for hopefully a resumption of the VNL season in 2021?
I've been lucky enough to be able to exercise without wearing a mask over my face, so I'm enjoying that. But just doing the Falcons training, online training sessions. I've been doing them 3 times a week, and just because I wanted to get on the court this year and just have a run around, I asked Marg if it was all right to actually join a team down here. So I've been playing for the Mangapla Goannas. They've taken me on this year and I've been running around with them. Obviously, it's not quite the level that VNL is at, but it's so good to get back on a court. So I'm doing a bit of training with them, as well as, keeping up a little bit of an extra running session and weight session a week. So it's been keeping me motivated. I've got lots of time on my hands being at home. So enjoying it.
I guess for you, especially you have the luxury of, I guess, not much restrictions at all in country New South Wales. And obviously you get to have an actual proper season compared to like the rest of Victoria. I guess, how has the team been going, and I guess how far in the season is it at the moment?
Yeah, so it's been a modified season. So we have 6 games, 3 rounds of finals. We're currently up to our 4th game this weekend, and we're undefeated so far. We come up against some top opposition this weekend, so it'll be a good game. But it's really good just to be out on the court. I'm still learning lots. I feel like I'm learning a lot because I'm just sharing a bit of my knowledge as well. So that's been enjoyable. So not quite the standard of your VNL, but I'm honestly not complaining because a lot of people don't even get to play netball. So I'm over the moon with it.
Now you mentioned it's a modified season, and I think by the sounds of it, you play each other once, and then obviously finals straight away. I guess when you, when you came back home and obviously had a chance to play, and knowing that you had to play each other once and then straight into finals, I guess were you reasonably happy with that, or would you rather play more games than finals?
Well, it was actually a lot of effort just to get this league off the ground. I originally wanted to play with another league who then folded, and then I went to another league and they had to join with another league just to get enough people to play. Obviously, people are still a little bit worried with the virus, and also they're just struggling. They're not allowing anyone from obviously Victoria to play in this league, so they've had to modify numbers and everything. So it worked out all right playing with six teams. I think are in all up, so they've done the best they can at the moment, and they're just going to go with that. Hopefully, we actually get to finish the season, and this virus is just controlled a little bit until the end, anyways.
I guess for yourselves in the country, I guess you're pretty lucky for the fact that where you are is pretty isolated, and you don't have the clusters of what's down here in Melbourne, and obviously what's been happening in Sydney at the moment as well. But I guess being out on the netball court, and you mentioned there's 6 teams in the comp at the moment. Tell us, I guess, for everyone here in Victoria in particular, what is it like playing the country in country New South Wales?
Yeah, so obviously I started my netball here in the country leagues, but obviously when you get into those higher leagues, it's very netball based, and it's all about focusing on netball. You come, you play, you win. Well, that's like the end goal. Whereas you probably won't understand it unless you're from a country town. But when you go to it's a football netball day, you go early at, 9 o'clock in the morning, and you're there until 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You're there supporting a team. You know all the locals, from the little babies all the way up to the people that have been there since forever. And it's just it's a whole different vibe to like the bigger leagues in obviously Melbourne area. So it's great to get back out there and have that community feeling again. I've been really enjoying it, and like I said, it's probably hard for anyone to kind of understand it unless you've really experienced it firsthand. But yeah.
Now, you mentioned about your current club that you're playing for at the moment. Now, I'm assuming, as you mentioned, you have your actual local club that you normally be playing for locally. Tell us who that club is, and you might as well give them a shout out while you're at it. And I guess how important they've been to your netball journey.
Yeah. So my hometown is Henty. So there's about, I don't even know if there's 1,000 people in the town. It's a small little town. So that was my original club growing up till about age 15. So unfortunately this year they couldn't get off, like their league had to fold. So me and my brother joined a club that's just north of us. They're called the Mangapla Goannas. They're an amazing club. I feel like I've been here for years. They just took on new players. They were really happy to take on me and my brother. So they're great team. Get around them. We're here we'll be known for the 2020 premiership, I'm sure.
Oh, there you go. There's a big call already. Well, let's hope that comes true. And if that does, we'll definitely have to get you back on the show to talk all about it. But let's talk a bit about, I guess, your decision to come to the Falcons. You mentioned, obviously, this year was supposedly your first year down here in Melbourne and playing our state comp in the VNL. I guess, wasn't an easy decision for the fact that, you where you are is probably halfway between Melbourne and Sydney?
Yeah. No, So it was obviously, I put quite a bit of thought into it, and I really just wanted to take that next step in my netball journey. And I think like the only way to do that was to really get a lot more exposure, and that was probably had to be done in Melbourne. It's a bit of a struggle being the little country kid kind of trying to get into the bigger leagues. So yeah, I made that decision, talked to heaps of people about it, and they all highly recommended it. And then the next step was obviously choosing the club. So I did some trials at a couple other clubs and really thought about it, talked to a lot of people, and I don't know what, it was really my gut, I think, said that Falcons was the way to go. And couldn't be happier with my decision. It was actually looked like it was going to be a ripper year for us. The team I had, I know it was my first year in the league and I didn't know much about it, but the team I thought they were amazing, both on and off the court. So I was really excited for it to all go ahead. But it wasn't an easy decision. Being a country girl, I do love my space and being able just to go outside and not run into 1,000 different people. But it was a good experience while it lasted. So we'll hopefully might be another a year next year to really get it off the ground and going.
Now, you mentioned about making the decision to come to the Falcons, and obviously it's a long way, as you mentioned, it's a 4.5-hour drive to get down here. I guess now you mentioned that when obviously the restrictions weren't so bad it is now here in Melbourne, you mentioned that you were staying down here in Melbourne?
Yeah. So I was, I thought if I was going down there to play netball, I'd better do something else as well and not just. So I looked at a uni course, and I was doing a course through the Richmond Institute of Sport and Swinburne. So they have a course there for you. So I did that. So I got to stay on campus in Hawthorn there. So it wasn't too much of a drive, about a 45-minute drive, which is nothing for me being out country when we drive 2 hours for games. But so it actually worked out really well. Just getting the hang of it all, working out training and all my uni stuff. So it was a bit of a long holiday down there, but no, it was good.
Now, I know for a fact that I think you're not the only interstate player at the Falcons, I believe. I think there's about 2 others that are in the same boat as well. I think it might be from your area, to be honest. I guess, how special is that?
I didn't even know about it until I was down there, and some of the girls were asking about where I lived and where I'd come from, and we actually made the connection. So it was pretty funny figuring that out. It was really comforting, actually, knowing that there was some of the other girls down there that knew where I come from and what my background was like and stuff like that. So it was a bit funny, actually.
Have you ever played against them?
No, I must have just missed out on them. I think I was just age group a bit younger, but we did play in the same leagues and stuff. So.
And I have to ask, considering I'm going to hopefully interview them later in the week, have you played against their clubs, and who's come up the better?
From what I know, I think we actually might have played at the same club. In Jane. Oh, you might have to ask Cook about that one. But definitely Wodonga Raiders is the strongest club out there. So we'll see what she says about it.
Yes, I thought so. I thought that might have been the case. Now, be a highlight throughout your netball journey.
Well, I've had a couple little exciting things. Like obviously, just at my early ages, I actually got the opportunity to win 2 premierships on one day. So that was pretty good for me. But going into the older ones, I've I don't know. I've had netball's been a bit of a love-hate relationship there for me for a bit. So getting back on the court after a year off a bit of a struggle year was that probably doesn't look like a highlight to many people, but for me, it was like a big stepping stone. Ended up doing pretty well in the league and the league vote count and stuff like that. And that just really, it taught me why I love the sport and why I play it every weekend and why I do some craze, like why we run around a court for training sessions for 2 hours. It just showed me why we do that. It's because, we really love it. So, yeah.
What position do you play on the court? And if you had a preferred position where you love to convince Marg and Rickshaw and the rest of them to put you, where would that be?
So defense, definitely a defender. I did play shooter in my early years, but I think that was only because I got rebounds. I really wasn't that good. So if I could, like, a position that I would want Marg and them to put me in would be just defense. Keep me in there. If you want me to do any good, just keep me somewhere down there.
Now, what does the sport of netball mean to you now?
Ooh, it's a good question. I reckon it's definitely changed over the years what it actually means for me. It used to be just something to fill up your weekend with, but now I think it's definitely something that it's kind of like a getaway from everything, a bit of an escape button for a lot of my things that I've got going on. It's something I've always loved, and I feel like whatever emotions or what's going on with you, you can step onto that court or just jump on to and some training or like run around, and it can definitely just change the way you're feeling and what's going on around you. So it's a bit of an escape for me, I reckon.
And have you had a chance to sort of sit down and figure out what you want to do in regards to the sport of netball, like long and short term?
I haven't really sat down and really put a lot of thought into it. I'm someone who kind of just takes what I'm given, but I don't know. I think I would definitely like to continue like giving back to the sport because it's given me a lot, obviously. So even if that's not even playing, it's like just working in a club or working with athletes somehow, if it's in like nutrition or all the way to physio, something like that could be really cool. But obviously I'd just love to keep playing the sport for as long as I can. I would just train hard and kind of just see where it takes me. I'll be happy with just about anything.
Now, you mentioned about giving back to the sport just a moment ago. Is something like coaching something you want to do, especially back at your hometown?
Yeah, no, actually that's has popped up a couple of times. Obviously I didn't plan to be back so soon this year, but definitely if I'll kind of just give my experience a go in netball, and I'd be more than happy to come back. I've obviously had some pretty amazing coaches, have taught me a lot, so it would kind of be rude to keep that all to myself. So definitely if I'm given the opportunity, be a good way to learn and just teach a bit.
Now, what would be your advice to our listeners in the country in particular that want to get involved in netball?
Yeah. Something that I probably would have appreciated would have been to just keep going. Perseverance is key. Being country people, we're obviously have a slight disadvantage to the people in the city, just like being seen and given opportunities at clinics and just little things like that is so obviously I've experienced a number of knockbacks, and it hurts. They're hard, but if you can get over them, it's it's like unreal. I know it's pretty typical advice, but take it. Really take it on board.
Now, obviously, I've had a chance to live in the country myself, but up in Queensland. And the one thing I noticed with the country sports, and especially country netball and football, is that really valued the sport that you're playing, and I think that's the advantage that country people have to what metro people have in regards to you have to work a lot harder, and I guess the skills is a lot better. Do you see it like that?
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting topic, I guess. Obviously, I feel like because there's more people in the city, there's probably more coaches and there's probably more chances of having you good coaches. So it is something that country kids can miss out on is having that good learning style. But being a country kid, there's something else that you learn, obviously, is to really go hard at that ball is another thing. So it has its ups and downs, I reckon. I was pretty lucky to have some really good coaches out in the country, so that I can't thank them enough for that. But yeah, I guess if you look into it, there can be some advantages and disadvantages to it all. So yeah, I guess it depends what angle you take.
Now, you mentioned quite a lot about your country coaches there. You might as well give them a shout out.
All right. Yeah, no, definitely I can say without a doubt it'd be Jodie House and Fee Boyer. They're unreal with what they know in netball. So if you ever come across them, just take as much as you can get from them.
Have you convinced any of your teammates there at your local club to maybe take the journey that you've taken to come down to Melbourne?
Yeah, well, I've not that I full on convince them, but I did mention that my experience so far has been amazing and that could have helped them make the decision to come along. But yeah, I guess it's been a bit hard with this whole situation we're in, that some people aren't too keen to go to Melbourne at the moment. But everyone I've anyone that's asked me, I've just raved about it. So I hope I have.
And is there anyone at your local club we should watch out for that should come down to Melbourne?
There is some young girls coming up, and whether or not they decide to come this way, hopefully they do, but you'd probably be looking at maybe Mackenzie House or maybe some other young girls in the team, Marnie Gorman or Blaney House. Definitely, if they come this way, that we should definitely pick them up for Falcons.
Yeah, so there you go. There's a message out there to all the Falcons coaches to watch out for those players. Now, of course, lighthearted questions about your country team. Firstly, any embarrassing moments through how many months already through the season?
Ooh, what has happened? We just had a photographer go through on our last game, and they've come out with some ripper photos. That's always good. What else has been good? We've had a couple news reporters come through, and it's been a bit interesting, some of the things they've said about our team, but nothing quite embarrassing just yet. But hopefully, I think something might come up in the next couple of weeks. Got a couple functions and little things like that, so I will definitely get back to you on that one.
Okay, well, we'll ask that question a bit later on in the year. Who's the comedian?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think can our assistant coach and coach be that one? They're not technically team players, but they're in the team, so we'll go with that. Our coach is awesome. She's amazing, funny as.
Now, same question, but this time for the Falcons.
It would probably have to be when just between Crofty and Hannah when they get together. I don't think the coaches love it, but they're a good laugh for us.
Oh, how do I know Crofty was going to be in one of these answers? Now, of course, who's the best singer and dancer in your country team first?
Michaela Cole definitely can sing and dance. That's I don't know how well it is, but it's enough to have a little giggle. And then for Falcons, I don't even know. Whips. I'm not sure. Anyone who's got good moves on the court, maybe. We'll go with. I'm sure Daisy could do something good. I reckon she'd have something.
We'll find out if we have Daisy on the show a little bit later on in the week. So we might pose that question to her. Now, of course, I have to ask, do the country team itself have a pump-up song before a game?
Ooh. We did have the one song playing. What was it? Mr. Brightside. It wasn't really just pumping us up, but it was just playing, and I think everyone just got around it, so that was good. You can't go wrong with Mr. Brightside.
No, you definitely can't. And, of course, now we mentioned about embarrassing moments. What's the funniest ever? Is there anyone at your country club, either during training or during a game, that just did an absolute funny thing that just made you laugh?
This wasn't this year, but it was last year, a couple years ago, actually, a little while ago. We it's going to be a very had to be there moment, but my childhood friend was picking up her premiership neck thing, and she was she just did a good roll, not a roll, but just a good trip, fell to the hands while getting her little neck thing. But so that was good. We had to try and keep it cool and just let her walk it off. But I think everyone was laughing and just in excitement. So that was good, actually.
Did anyone take a photo of that moment?
No, we didn't even have it videoing at that stage. The lady videoed afterwards. So we have no proof, which sucks because she won't admit to it today. But we'll I don't think that's something I'll forget.
Oh no, that would have been a great moment.
It was good. Really topped off the winning.
I know you don't want to single anyone out in the country, the team that, but I'm going to ask this question. I'm assuming you would play alongside some amazing players throughout your time in netball for your country team. Do you have a top 5 players that you played alongside with?
So I would have to straight away put Brooke Price up there. We've been defending, and Alyssa Donaldson. They're definitely they've been my little defending buddies forever. Who else have I played? Nikita Singhi. We played way back in from my local town. Who else would be in it? I think I'm gonna have to put the House sisters. So that's Shayla House, Blaney House, and Mackenzie House. I know that was 6, but we'll go with that.
That's right, close enough. Close enough to 5. Obviously with Melbourne and Victoria in lockdown at the moment, I always ask this question. I'm going to ask you: have you, throughout this isolation and lockdown period, have you done something that you didn't think you had? Have you had a hidden talent or try something new that you didn't think you had?
Well, with my uni course, we've been doing a lot of just a practical session every so often. And a lot of the time it's been yoga. All right. I'm a very big, long, lanky person. So flexibility hasn't always been my strong point. But even with Falcons doing a bit of Pilates and stuff, I'm really liking this whole really easygoing type exercise, very calming. I'm not great at it. Never don't watch me do it. That wouldn't be pretty, but I'm liking it. So I don't know if it's a talent, but it's definitely a new hobby I've picked up.
Oh, don't worry. I'm pretty sure some of us have seen it. So I think you do really well. I actually have seen you in our.
Yeah.
I have, don't worry, as I'm doing my own sessions as well. So
it's not pretty. We need some work, but that's all right, as long as we're trying.
Smash FM is the City West Falcons team sponsor. Now, my question to you is, how special to have Smash FM as a sponsor?
Oh, these guys are amazing. I've obviously being the first year here, I didn't really know much, and I was kind of just getting thrown with a lot of information in the sponsors of Falcons. But no, I think the work you guys do is awesome, and just like, yeah, really bringing the knowledge and just like, yeah, having a bit of fun with athletes, and yeah, just raising the importance of just getting around sport as young people, and just, yeah, loving it, I guess. So yeah, the little bit that I've done with you guys, I've had a lot of fun, and yeah, I have a little giggle out of the things you guys do, so it's been good.
Well, Vashti, thank you so much for joining us. It's awesome having you on the show. Hopefully we get the chance to meet you in person this time, once we all get our lockdown here in Melbourne. Obviously stay safe, and obviously there's not much longer to your finals, and especially that grand final. By the sounds that you're probably going to get there by the sounds of it. So let's hope it all goes well. If you do win the premiership, let us know. We'd love to have you on the show, and maybe we can get a couple of your teammates to join you on this Zoom call to talk all about the hopefully a premiership win in about a month's time.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, really enjoyed it, and had a good laugh on my Tuesday night. So thanks for that, Will. Appreciate it. And I look forward to having another one of these.
Not a problem. That's Vashti there, of course, joins from regional New South Wales, of course, part of the Falcons, of course, VNL 10 that we sponsor, of course, and we've got more of the country edition of the Falcons a little bit later on the week, so, of course, make sure you tune into that. And there's more on the Smash Sport Show right after this. Don't go away here on Lockdown Tuesday. Yes, welcome everyone here to the Smash Sport Show right here on Smash FM here on a Lockdown Thursday here in Melbourne. Of course, let's continue our City West Falcons Country Series now. And of course, well, we've got a very special guest on the show. Of course, she has won, of course, a VNL championship in her time as well. And of course, she's, of course, based out in the country as well. And of course, her name's Sarah. She joins us right now. Thanks, Sarah, for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Will.
No worries. Well, I guess for you, I guess playing there in the country, I guess what does that mean to you to play out there in your local club in the country?
It's just really nice to get out and represent my town of Seymour in that sort of league, and to show everyone, what our town can do.
Considering we're all in restrictions at the moment and sort of lockdown, I guess what have you been doing in lockdown / I guess the restrictions to keep yourself motivated to hopefully get back on the netball court?
Yeah, well, I've still been sticking to a pretty good schedule with Falcons. Obviously, we're doing still a fair bit of training via Zoom, which really, gets you a bit motivated to see your teammates still 3 times a week, and Marg's really pushing us hard. But then outside of that, I've kind of been using it to work on some things that I need a bit of improvement, which a big part of it is some running at the moment. And I'm fortunate enough to have my local netball courts be about 1 kilometre away from me. So I've been pretty, lucky, and we're still in stage go here in Seymour, to still be able to stick to a pretty good schedule. And yeah, seeing my teammates has just been so motivating.
Now, with obviously Seymour's in the Golden Valley competition. I know that obviously the season is done for the year. I guess, did you get a chance to play at least any games at all for Seymour?
I didn't get to play any proper games. Did get to play a few quarters in a practice match, but yeah, that was about it.
Did you feel sort of disappointed or sad at all that you couldn't play any games?
Yeah, it's actually been a bit hard to, spend my weekends not going and playing netball, or even, training with people for netball. I think it was good to finally get a result and say, it was done. But yeah, it's actually been a bit sad not getting to, you know, go play netball and see a lot of my friends that I've made through netball as well.
Now let's talk a bit about your Seymour team. I guess, how did you fare last year?
So we actually won for the Golden Valley League.
Yeah, obviously winning the whole premiership. Was there a turning point last year that really turned it all around for Seymour?
I don't think so. I think it was pretty consistent through the whole season. We did have times we drop off a little bit, but the last couple of weeks, I think we really, you know, got the whole team together as one, and that really showed through our finals campaign.
Now, I know most people don't know much about the Golden Valley comp. Obviously, I follow it quite well, considering there's quite a few VNL players playing in that competition. And obviously, they've gone on to do big and better things as well in the Suncorp netball. I guess for you, knowing that obviously you've played in VNL, you've played in championships, and obviously I'm sure one or two of your teammates have now gone on to Suncorp in the Queensland bubble at the moment. I guess, what did that mean to the club and obviously the community of Seymour to know that there is another pathway to get from country to state and obviously to the big one in Suncorp?
I actually think that's really exciting, especially for one of my close friends, Al McDonald, is obviously up in the hub at the moment up there. And the way her pathway worked out for her, I think that really shows the country kids that you can really make it, and you don't always have to go through that state league sort of making the national Vic teams in underage to actually get to that end result that you want. And obviously for the community, we're so proud of Al. And it's so great just to even see her sitting on the bench. The town had a lot of hype around that when she was announced as a bench player the last 2 games. So it's actually been really exciting for us.
Now, tell us the final series last year. I got to see the results that came through, and actually got to see your live stream game on the grand final in that last year. I guess, tell us a bit about the journey through the final series. I'm sure that the team had the week off or something similar to that to get to the grand final. I guess, tell us a bit about the final journey last year.
You really tested my memory. It's been a little while. So in our 1-2 playoff in our first week, we faced up against pretty sure it was a Chuka, and we actually had a really tight battle. We always had all year. They were probably our sort of team that really pushed us quite hard, and I think we were probably down for a fair bit of the game. I actually got kicked off the court. I got put on the bench, which was, you know, a bit embarrassing, but no, we actually came back in, I think, the last quarter and just got there in the end. Really, we just really had to grind it out. We were down by a little bit and sort of just had to throw everything at it, which you know, it was nice to show that we could grind through, because I think we had a few easy wins, and people didn't think we could be challenged and actually, you know, pull through from that. So then from there, we actually got the week off, which I haven't had before, which was actually really kind of nice, which we obviously kept it the same, you know, trained and everything. And then, we came back out in that grand final. And I think it was one of the best team performances that we'd actually put out. I think we were quite consistent from both ends of the court. We didn't have one end do really well and one end struggle, which was actually really nice. And we kind of put that game away quite early, which made it a bit easier for everyone.
Now, you mentioned you played Chuka in the semis, so I'm assuming you end up versing them again in the grand final, by the sounds of it. But obviously the distance between yourselves and the Chuka, I'm assuming it's about a 2-hour drive or so, I guess, to get there. I guess for everyone here in Melbourne, I have no idea how much that you travel and how much time that you have to get to games, and especially I'm assuming there's early morning games as well involved in all this. I guess just tell us, I guess, how difficult has that been in regards to, obviously for you play on a Wednesday night for VNL, obviously you train with the Falcons on a Sunday and on I think on a Friday as well. And obviously you play for your local club on Saturdays, and I'm assuming you train with them somewhere along the line about Tuesday or Thursday nights. I guess, how difficult has it been, like, get to, especially to a Saturday game, that knowing that you've already played VNL during the week?
Yeah, it was actually really tough for me. I was sort of living a bit in Melbourne and a bit in Seymour, just with my work was both. So sometimes, like you said, we could be playing a Tuesday and I could be driving from Melbourne, which makes it, a 3+ hour drive, which is quite difficult, especially after you're saying we've already had a training the night before with Falcons and I've already played a game, plus the training's on the Thursday. It can be a little bit hard sometimes to get up and about, but I actually had a couple of Melbourne girls who I'm really good friends with. We tried to share a fair bit of the driving, which does make it a bit better, but it still, makes for quite a long day. Obviously, country netball is a lot about the whole town getting around each other. So we would always try and go earlier and watch some of the other girls who would then stay later and support us. So yeah, sometimes we were leaving Melbourne sometimes at 8, 9 a.m., which can get a little bit tiring, and not getting home because we don't play till 2 p.m., well past 6, 7 o'clock. So you're looking at almost 12+ hour days away just for some netball. But yeah, it's just for the love of, playing for the town and the game itself.
No, I know, coming from the country myself, that obviously, as you mentioned, is a community. The whole town gets around their local club, football and netball. Obviously, when your team won the premiership last season, which I think the grand final, in my memory serves me correct, it was in Shepparton.
Yeah.
I guess, what did that netball premiership mean to the whole town?
I think it was just so exciting for us. We had a couple of years where we'd sort of been close, but we just had some things that let us down, whether it was player availability or things like that. And we also actually had our reserves football team win a grand final the same day. So it actually really brought the whole town together, because it wasn't just all the netball people. We also had the football as well. And so it just made the day a whole lot more special, because we had that many more people around us and showing us the support from the whole entire town. It was just a different atmosphere.
How was the celebrations like after the win last year?
Oh, as you could imagine, it was probably a little bit crazy, especially with all of us there, like so many people in our little club rooms back in Seymour. But yeah, everyone came back to support us, so it was so nice.
And I guess now, considering, well, the season's done, so you're technically the champions again for 2020, even though the season hasn't gone ahead. I guess, do you still sort of now have the chance to relax and sort of reflect on it? I guess, do you still kick yourselves knowing like almost this time last year you won it?
I actually, even when we were back at training this year for what we thought was going to be a season, I actually it sort of escaped my memory that we'd even won it. Like, it just seemed like a dream because it hadn't happened for a little while. So it's just so crazy to still think about that we did do that.
Now I have to ask, who is Seymour's biggest rival in the netball?
I'd have to say Tatura. We've definitely had some good battles, a couple of grand finals wins and losses to them, and they've always got a good team to put out against us.
Is there any names in the Tatura team we should know about?
I think Steph Vick, definitely. She'd coached them and also played a little bit. She's always a competitor, especially through that mid-court. Her and Al McDonald are definitely a good matchup for each other, and there's always a good competition between them too.
Now, you pretty much answered my next question about your own team. Other than obviously the names that we all know that play in the VNL, I guess, is there a couple of maybe the up-and-coming stars in the Seymour team that hopefully we get to see them down the track in VNL?
Yeah, we actually had some opportunities to have a couple of our younger girls who play we have an under 17s. So we had a couple of them actually come up into our team, which I think gave them a good idea on the sort of physicality that you can get from some Melbourne sort of players, as well as just the older bodies. I think one of the main ones, we had a young girl, she plays shooter, called Ruby Martin. She's a very tall, good shot, and actually has a lot of movement. So I think we need to watch out for her in the future, because I think she could really go far and definitely should be breaking into that VNL scene quite soon.
And you might as well tell us, on top of that, is there, I guess, any? No, I know. Obviously, we know that you're a shooter. You mentioned one of the up-and-coming stars as a shooter. Is there a couple of the players we should know about down the other end of the court, in the defenders at Seymour?
Oh, I know, Will. I think you've forgotten.
Oh, sorry. Yes, you did too. Sorry. Well, we must have stayed at your end of the court then.
Yeah, that's right. I was a shooter once upon a time.
Yeah, I was going to say, who's with you normally at Seymour in the defensive circle as well as in the wing defence, which doesn't get much recognition normally on the netball court?
So in goal defence, I have a lady called Meg Grubback, who actually used to play for Falcons.
Oh.
Yeah. I wasn't actually at Falcons when Meg was there, so I didn't really know until she came to Seymour, but she's a very unassuming goal defence who really just goes and goes, and definitely sets me up to get some of the intercepts that I do. I definitely owe her a lot. And then out at wing defence, we actually teamed up with Nikita Singh, and she actually plays for Northeast Blaze. She was there when I was there quite a few years ago. And again, she definitely sets me up to look as good as I can be sometimes. Definitely owe a lot to both of them out the front of me for the efforts that they do. And definitely that wing defence position definitely is a bit more praise and recognition for sure.
Let's talk a bit about your netball journey, Sarah. How did you get involved in the sport of netball? Obviously, being in the country town, so that's almost first nature for a lot of girls. I guess how you got involved in it, and why did you end up choosing it?
So I followed it more from my mum. She actually played netball for Seymour herself, and I started off with basketball and then moved on to netball. Eventually started just with the classic net, set, go. And from there just fell in love and kept pursuing it. And I owe a lot of my netball journey, funnily enough, to Marg Lind. She's the one who actually really got me into the pathway where I am now. So it's actually really nice to come back to Falcons and actually be rewarding her for giving me that chance when she did quite a few years ago now.
Now, as I mentioned, you won quite a few premierships, not just locally for Seymour, but obviously the VNL Championship with the Blaze, and I think you won one with the Falcons as well. I guess for you, I'm going to ask the silliest question I'm going to ask. Which one's more special for you, to win the VNL Championship with the Falcons and the Blaze, or the Gorham Valley one with Seymour?
Unfortunately, I wasn't there for the Falcons when I was still actually at Blaze. But I would have to say probably the first Seymour premiership that we won, that was, I think about 2015. It just sits such a place in my heart because our team was quite young, quite underrated. And Seymour hadn't won a premiership in, I think it was about 27 years for netball before then in A grade. So it was just such a special thing for us personally, just being the young kids and showing that, you know, the young kids can get it done. And also just for the town, just doing it for them after so long, it was just holds a quite special place in my heart.
Now, I asked Vashti this question. Obviously, she has to travel a lot further than that most people do, come from regional New South Wales. I guess the question I'm going to ask you is, what convinced you to make the travel down to Melbourne? And obviously, now, obviously, with what the roads have been, it's been pretty good in regards to the quicker times to get to these venues and games. I guess, what convinced you to come down to Melbourne?
Well, really, the travel time isn't much different to what we would be doing for Golden Valley anyway. So it's something I'm quite used to, traveling on the weekly basis. Sometimes it's actually shorter, it depends where we're going. I think just for the love of the sport and, you know, just getting better, I saw that I was, you know, going okay at netball and that someone did have faith in me, and that was in Margolind. She just showed a lot of interest and wanted to make me the best netballer I could be. And that just made me really excited and made me want to just travel down. Like I said, it doesn't really feel like that bad anymore. I've done it for quite a few years now. So, you know, I'm quite used to it, the travel. So, yeah.
How special will it be to hopefully get one with the Falcons?
Oh, that would be so special. Obviously, like I said, they started off my netball journey, and to be back at the club has been amazing. So I'd love to be able to reward them with helping get a premiership. It would just be the icing on top.
Now let's talk a bit about what does the sport of netball mean to you now, and kind of seeing what you've already achieved, and especially to play for the Falcons and also for Seymour.
I think netball a lot for me now is just about the community, the friendships. Obviously, it's a good way for me to exercise, and it's always a challenge. You never know, like at training or games, like what you're going to have to deal with. There's always, it mentally challenges you so greatly. I think just everything about the sport, really. You get to see people, you're working hard, like it's just everything. It's just so amazing.
Is there a preferred position that you'd like to convince Marg and Richo to put you?
Oh, I think I'd love to have a crack at wing defence, honestly. It's just something a little bit different from goal defence. I did get a couple of goes at it in champ when I was with Blaze, but I'd love to have a solid crack at it sometime, but I don't think I'll be kicking Solly out of that position anytime soon. So I think that one will just have to be safe for training or something. I'll try and jump in there and steal the bid.
Now, one player I want to speak to you about in the Falcons is, funny enough, also based out in the country, but just on the other side of the Hume Freeway. Of course, she's based out in Bendigo. Obviously, Zoe Davies. I guess how special is it to train with her? And obviously, with both of you have a very similar type in regards to country netball.
Yeah, it's been great. Zoe was actually in the scholarship program when I was at Falcons the first time. We actually became pretty good friends at training. So it's actually been really nice to come back and work with her again. We still, you know, had that friendship going there. We just obviously had to work on the on-court stuff, which I think we really got to a good spot at the end of last year, obviously in the final series. And it's just been great to see someone who also travels a fair bit to get to netball, so she understands what you're going through. It's actually been really great, and I've been keeping really close contact with her through isolation, and been checking on each other. And I was actually meant to play against her in Golden Valley. She was actually going to be playing for Shepparton United, so I'm kind of grateful that didn't happen, because I don't think I'd really like to face her on the court, to be honest.
You don't want to verse against her. But considering you're playing on the other end of the court, is it safe that you don't have to worry about facing against her like normally in regards to you both play in similar positions, but obviously when you verse eventually against each other, maybe next year, and that you don't have to worry about versing against her?
Oh, my main concern is sometimes in the Golden Valley, I actually get thrown into goal defence a little bit. And if she's goal defence and I'm goal defence, I feel like we might have a go at each other when one of us is streaming down court trying to get a ball or trying to intercept. So I feel like if that did happen, we'd probably end up clashing somehow. I'm sure we'd find a way between the two of us. We can be a little bit clumsy. So that's my main fear with Zoe, really.
Now, of course, I have to ask this question for everyone that once we all get down lockdown and also obviously with the restrictions hopefully ease, especially for next year, what would be your advice to especially people down here in Melbourne are thinking about maybe coming up to Seymour and either watch the team in action or even get involved in the sport of netball up there in Seymour?
I think they should just know how close-knit of a town we are, and especially within the football club, there's a lot of people know country sport is quite big in country towns and everyone generally knows who you are. So I think just getting around the club, it's actually a really good place to be. We have a lot of functions and things where we all interact with each other, and it's just one big community. If you come down to Seymour, you'll be knowing everyone the first day you're there. Like, we're all so friendly and just get around each other on and off the court. So that's the main thing I think we need to put out there. Seymour people, as soon as you come down, you're basically family and in the town from day one.
Now let's finish up with a couple of light-hearted questions about your Seymour team, and we might include Falcons in a couple of the other questions, but I'm going to start with the Seymour team first. Any embarrassing moments during pre-season / sort of training for 2020?
I don't think I really had any. I wasn't there too often, unfortunately. I think probably the worst thing was I actually turned up quite late to a pre-season game because I got my times wrong. So they were ringing me wondering where I was, and I was still driving there.
Oh no. Now, of course, who's the comedian there at Seymour?
Oh, I think I'd have to say Nikita, who plays wing defence. She doesn't talk a lot, but sometimes when she does, she pulls out some funny things.
Now, a similar question, but this time for the Falcons.
Oh, I think you'd have to hand that to Maggie. Whether she means it or not, you'll always be in stitches at every single training session.
Yes, that's quite true.
Yeah, I think you would know too, Will.
Yeah, I do. Now, best singer and dancer at Seymour.
I'd probably just have to say our whole team. Like, put any song on and we'll get around it. All of us. So I'll just say the whole Lego team.
And, of course, the similar question with the Falcons.
I'd probably have to give dancing to Solly. And then probably the one person who actually sings sometimes at training, again, probably is Maggie. So yes. I'll just give it to her by default because no one else, I haven't heard them sing. So she can just have it.
Yes, I agree with Solly with the dancing part. Have you had any new talents or hidden talents that we didn't know that you had during this isolation lockdown?
I don't think so. I haven't really worked on anything or tried to anyway. Yeah, I haven't really got anything to add. I really should, though. You've got to bring something out new for the 2021 season, really.
Now, obviously, there's amazing personalities in country football netball. Is there, a couple of, I guess, personalities in the netball team we should know about if we come up to Seymour?
I think it's just our whole team. When we get together, I think we just become a whole different group of people. If you keep us quite apart, I think we're quite quiet, but then all of us together, you probably can't get a word in with it. So I'd just say again, probably our whole team.
Out of the Seymour team, have you noticed anyone try to do some TikTok movements or have done it the most that just shake your head all the time?
Number one would be Jess Lallo. She somehow has managed to come up on my TikTok page many, many times. So yeah, I'd definitely say her.
And of course, I'll finish off with two final ones, which is describe your Seymour team as many words as you like.
Crazy. White line fever would definitely have to be one. I'd probably just have to say Jackie. There's actually a song called Jackie that I think we have now made our theme song.
Ah.
I couldn't tell you who it's by, but yeah, that song, I don't know, we just know every word to it now. So crazy and yeah, just committed, like everything you need.
I have to ask that Jackie song. Who put that song up, and how long ago has this been for?
It was actually 2018, I think it would have been. At one of our functions, one of the girls we used to play with, Laura Carland, put it on for our iPod shuffle night, and she just loved this song. We were like, we're wondering what this song was. But now apparently we've all welcomed it in, and that song was probably played about 100 times at our premiership celebrations. So we know every single word to it. It's always requested. Yeah, it's just been welcomed into our team. It's basically our 8th member on the court now. So yeah.
Might have to come up to Seymour and get the team to sing that song when I come up to Seymour next year. And of course, we'll finish up with this one last one, which is how special to have Smash FM as a team sponsor there at City West.
Oh, it's so great to have someone actually put in the sport of netball, especially the VNL competition, out there. We're so grateful. I don't think some people understand how hard the VNL is to play in, and you know, the training and effort that we put in to doing it voluntarily. Basically, we pay to play. So to have Smash FM out there putting netball and our club, because we have so many great team members and players, young and older, playing for our club, to have someone putting that out there into the whole world is just so amazing, and we're so thankful for the work that you put in, Will, especially even during isolation. To still have the coverage is great.
No worries. Thank you so much for that. And Sarah, thank you so much for joining us. I can't wait to get back out in the country again. Of course, promise, I've gone past Seymour so many times when I go to Wodonga. I'll have to make sure I come up to Seymour properly and experience the Seymour community, and especially the football netball side of things. And obviously, hopefully, we get to see everyone back on the court there at Seymour very soon.
Yeah, we'd love to have you here, Will. I'm sure you'd become a member of Seymour, would get you in a jumper and everything before you left that day. So you're more than welcome to come on down when we're all back hitting the court again. No worries. Thank you so much, Will.
No worries. And that's Sarah there from the City West Falcons, as well as mentioned, a part of our country series. Because she plays for the Seymour football netball team, which is obviously the defending champs at the Golden Valley competition. And hopefully we'll get to see them hopefully again in 2021, hopefully defending that championship, which is now become the longest premiership, of course, the longest premiership we've had in quite a long time. So let's say they can defend it for the third year in a row next year. There's more on the Smash Sports Show right after this. Don't go. Welcome everyone here to the Smash Sports Show right here on Smash FM here on a lockdown Tuesday here in Melbourne. Of course, let's turn our attention to one of our favourite sponsored teams. That is the City West Falcons, and of course, continue our country series. And of course, we've got three very special guests on the show from the Falcons to tell us a bit about it. Thanks all three for joining.
Thank you.
Well, I'll get each of you to introduce yourselves, and obviously what position we would normally be seeing all three on the court if we had a season.
I'm Daisy. I would just play goal shooter.
I'm Jasmine, and if I were to play, I would be in probably wing defence or centre.
I'm Olivia, and if I would be playing, I would be playing centre.
Now, obviously, all three all come from the country. I guess what I meant by that, obviously, away from Melbourne. I guess you might as well tell us which local clubs you all play for.
I play for Torquay Tigers in Torquay.
So I play in the Bendigo League for Eagle Hawk.
And I play in the Bendigo League for Gisborne.
Now, for all three, I guess how special is it to play in the country? And I guess for everyone in Melbourne, I have no idea how, competitive it is out there in the country. How special is it to have that football and netball connection when it comes to the community out there in your areas?
I really like it because it's almost like, because the town you play in like little clubs or little towns or whatever, it's kind of like, that's kind of like a little family of its own, like, because you've got the football and netball league and you've got all your friends there, so it's like that's its own little family, and then you go off and you do your other things, but like you still always have that.
Yeah, very family orientated.
I like how supportive all the club is, you know, everyone gets around each other and does everything, and even still, like, there's a lot of teams within, like, the Bendigo League, I know, and so when you catch up and you're going away to Bendigo and out the countryside, you get to see all your mates, and you don't usually go out there as much, but, you know, you see everyone and you catch up, and it was good fun, but not doing much at the moment.
The support, like, right through all of their grades, so like right from all the younger kids right up to like A grade and the senior footy and all that, everyone is sort of like supportive around each other, and you always see like all the younger kids at the older grades games, and also you see all of the like A graders down at the like mini players, watching them and giving them support and cheering them on and that sort of thing, and that makes it really welcoming and fairly good.
Now, I know that obviously, of course, Daisy plays in the Geelong competition, and obviously both Olive and Jazz play in the Bendigo competition. I guess, have either of you played against each other? Are they interleague or just normal club competition? I've got a feeling I know this answer from Liv and Jazz because they play in the same comp.
Yes, me and Liv have played like directly against each other a few times.
Ah.
Yeah. Always gets very, very competitive.
Yeah.
Does the Bendigo competition play against Geelong in interleague at all?
I don't think in interleague. I think they would in state maybe, but might cross paths in that sort of way.
Tell us now. I know that obviously all the competitions have been cancelled this year, but how was the season looking like for all your local teams?
I think my team personally, I think that we were looking fairly strong, and I'm fairly sure like right across the board, like all teams had built themselves up and were like, everyone was looking fairly strong, and like obviously physically, but as a team as well.
And same for us, we won the premiership last year, so coming to this year, we hadn't really lost many players. We lost there was just like maybe two that were like kind of in and out last year, so not 4 players, but our solid team were all going to be in it again this year. So we had a solid team going in, and we'd added a few extras as well. So we were all pretty excited to get going this year as well, but obviously things got in the way.
Yeah, and I guess for us, we had a very young team. A lot of people had moved up, and we were really fresh, but everyone was getting around each other. A few things changed up a little bit, but I reckon we would have done pretty well, and like everyone was very, very excited to start, and it just never got to that stage, which is disappointing, but there's always next year.
Now, for all three, what have you all been doing in isolation?
Our classes. Our classes with Falcons, obviously.
I'm the same. I doing the Zooms, but also had patellar tendonitis in my knee, so trying to get that back right. So it's been all right in that sense that we're not playing because it wouldn't have gotten any better. But I've had about nearly probably 2 months of I didn't do like all the Zoom sessions. I was just doing my own thing, obviously. So I've just the last week I've just come back in, so it's been good to be able to do a bit more now.
Yeah, I've just been doing the Zoom sessions as well with Falcons, and they've been unreal. I've really been enjoying them, and then on the side just running, but I can't really motivate myself to do much more.
I live on a farm as well, so I've been trying to sort of motivate myself to, like, say if I'm going to check the cows, I won't ride the motorbike, I'll like go for a run, and I'll just try to alternate using other things to sort of do physical activity here and there. So it's good in that aspect, I guess.
Now, we'll go back to your local team for a moment. Tell us a couple of players in your local team we should watch out for in the future. And you can't include yourselves.
Well, I play in A grade. A lot of the girls are all a lot older and already been through, like, I'm the youngest, so all the girls are like already been through that kind of stuff. But Jessica Stanfield plays in champ at Geelong Cougars, so definitely her. But everyone else in there is still solid as well, but they've just already kind of gone through the ranks and back out at the other end.
Well, in my team, obviously in A grade at Eagle Hawk, Ash and Abby Ryan, they play for, I think, Blaze. I'm not sure what grade, but yeah, they're definitely people to look out for.
Yeah, well, I'm still a little baby. I'm still in juniors, but I think at the moment I have a few players all over the joint that are really special. I think in A grade there's Maddie Stewart, who obviously plays VNL, and she's unreal. A lot of people actually do know her. I don't know if you have to look out for her, but there's also Charlotte Cook, who plays for VNL Hawks. So, yeah, there's a few Melbourne players in our little countryside.
Now, for all three, I know I'm going to ask the most serious question right from the start. Of course, how did all you get involved in netball and why did you choose it?
I always play. I actually kind of came in, well, not late, but I was like 12 when I started playing netball. So a lot of girls go through like net set go and kind of but I kind of just went like straight into like under 13s at like my local thing, and then from there I played under 15s and I just loved it. And then from the end of like my top age under 15s after that, they were like, "Do you want to come play A grade next year?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I kind of just like was just loved playing, and I just kept playing, and it just kind of happened.
Yeah, right. I guess I was probably, like Daisy, a little bit of a late bloomer. I started when I was like 11, turning 12 that year, and sort of just got into it. I wasn't really interested in netball as such. I liked running. I sort of liked just running, doing anything that was sort of physical activity. And then all of my friends were sort of doing it. So I thought, why not? I'll go and do it as well. Just something else I can do. And then, I found that I really, really liked it and sort of moved up in the ranks quite quickly, playing in one of sort of like the lower leagues. And then, I sort of got not picked into the Bendigo League, but I got asked, do I want to come and play? And so I was like, oh, why not?
Yeah, well, I definitely didn't start as netball. I used to play soccer for a while, but I quickly changed over to netball when I realised my older sister was getting good and found some competition. Knew I had to try and beat her and, get into all the clubs and play a better position and do everything a bit better just so I can show her up a bit.
Now, I had to ask all three, I guess, what convinced all three to come to Melbourne and play for the Falcons?
Probably Zoe Davies. She got me down to Falcons. She was at Eagle Hawk with me for a couple years, and she's like, oh, just come and give it a go. And I tried out, and I found that I really, really liked the club, and I've just been there since.
I'm the same. Mine would have been Sonia Harris. I played with her in A grade at Torquay a year, and then at the end of that year she was like, come trial, because she was a bit involved in and out of Falcons, so she was like, come trial, I'm going to coach her next year. So I was like, oh, may as well. And then I just like, and she couldn't end up going, so I just like forced myself to go, and I really didn't want to go in the end. So I was just like, oh, like I don't want to, I was too scared because like I'd never played really anything. So I went, and then I got chosen, and
Yeah, I don't know. I've always really wanted to play Melbourne, like a high level of netball. And one day I was just playing a round robin kind of thing at a tournament, and Marg scouted me and she just said, oh, do you want to come to the last tryout? So this was meant to be my first year at Falcons. Luckily enough, I got in, but I didn't get to play. So we'll see how it turns out for the rest of my time if it continues. But yeah, Marg really convinced me that, you know, I guess be good enough to come and play for Melbourne side.
Now, I have to ask all three, what will be a netball highlight throughout your netball journeys? Are they at Falcons or at your local club?
Mine would definitely be last year I won the premiership, obviously at Falcons, and I won the premiership at Torquay as well. So it was a bit of, both of those were a bit, probably my best ones.
I don't really have many sort of highlights. The probably thing that I love most about like the netball that I've played is when I was like first starting out, I was that honest that I stepped and put the ball down and gave it to the opposite team. Yeah, that's probably my highlight from my netball career so far.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think I like how at Falcons people are quite brutally honest. Like you play off or you're not putting in, they'll let you know, and you know you got stuff to work on, and they'll let you know, and you'll be working on it because it is a high level of netball, and you need to be at that standard to play there. So when you start to slip a little bit, or if you need a bit of work in these areas, they'll be on your back and they'll be yelling encouragement most of the time to get you there, which is, I reckon, is unreal, and that's probably a highlight of playing netball for me.
Now, Daisy, you mentioned about the premiership last year, which technically is still the reigning premiership team at Torquay and Falcons because there's no netball this year. Which one's more special and more important to you? Is it the Falcons one last year or the Torquay one last year?
I mean, I loved playing the VNL one because obviously it was my first year playing Falcons, and I played majority of I had a lot of court time last year, and all us girls were so close and we got along so well. So I really loved it, but I think I'd have to say the Torquay one, just I've played there my whole life, and I've just although I'm such good friends with all the girls at Falcons, just everyone around the whole club, I just, you know, it's just a bit more special in some way, because it's just you just always want to win a premiership at your home club. It's just, but again, playing it in a premiership and winning at VNL level is really good too.
Now, Jazz and Liv, you mentioned that you both play against each other. I have to ask, which team has normally come up on top?
Liv.
Yeah.
Liv. Oh, Liv has.
Winners are groups, that's all I can say.
Yeah, I think Liv's team was probably more not experienced, but they were much more gelled. And the team that I was in, we were very new, very young, all just basically mashed in together. And we obviously were very competitive, but yeah, Liv's team was just probably a bit more experienced in that way. And yeah, they definitely had that edge and won.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. Does your team, it was always a hard fight, and we always knew what we were coming up against. But I think in the end, it just come down to how well we worked together when it came down to all the pressure of the whole game. Because there's always a lot of pressure when you're versing someone that you've bet before, and you've got to keep up that. You got to keep going. You got to keep winning, because you can't win one, lose one, then you reckon you're even. It doesn't work that way in netball.
Now, I'm not going to ask Daisy this question because obviously her teams are the defending champions. I'm not going to ask this question to Daisy, but I'm going to ask this question to Liv and Jazz. I have to ask, which team is your team hoping to beat is a real rivalry, other than obviously against each other?
The same thing.
Sandhurst.
Yeah.
Probably Sandhurst. They're probably one of the highest teams in the league, and yeah, it's everyone's mission just to beat Sandhurst. That's all you hear, like, oh, Sandhurst.
Yeah, that's all Bendigo League. That's all you want to do, because Sandhurst win everything, all the football, all the netball, and you beat them and you're feeling on top of the world. And yeah, it's what everyone strives for in the BFNL League.
Even though we are the reigning premiers, there's still always like that one team, like they say, that like you just want to beat, because like it's just always like a club rivalry almost, like, and for us it'd be like Geelong Amateurs, like every year they're always in the top. Like they've played in the last, I think, like 4 or 5 grand finals, and I think they've won one of them maybe. But like they're always just at the top, and you always just know as soon as you're coming up to them that you just have to beat them, because they're that one team that are just always so good, and you just want to beat them every time.
I guess, what does the sport of netball mean to all of you, and especially playing for the Falcons?
To me, it's kind of like the friendships and like relationships and that you build like through the netball club, because like last year was my first year, but I'm so close with so many of the girls and like the coaches and everyone. Like you can just talk to anyone, have a conversation with anyone, and not feel like awkward or like uncomfortable. So I think that is like, that's really like good, like to just make those friendships and stuff. And also being around all different kinds of like people, and you learn so many different things about everyone. So you kind of know when you like go out, you just used to being different friends with all different kinds of people. So you just like, it just helps you. And yeah, learning so many like new things through like the coaching staff there, because they're so good. So yeah.
Yeah, like the honesty is probably like a real major thing at Falcons. Like they are completely honest with you, and sometimes like depending on how you take it, you may not take it the right way, but at the end of the day, they're only there to help you, and like they want you to get better, and they want you to succeed and proceed to like your optimum potential. And yeah, I think as well as the social side, it's very family orientated, and they obviously make you feel very welcome and don't try to exclude you in any way possible. Like they want you to feel as comfortable as you possibly can.
Yeah, netball is very, very important to me. It takes up a lot of my time, and I think at Falcons, I'm a very competitive person. I love winning, and it's always the best feeling. And obviously at Falcons, you kind of see that they win quite a bit and they are competitive, and it's kind of good to have people who are kind of like you and they are that competitive, and I guess the whole league is like that. But Falcons has an additional part to it where you get to live up to something. You know, they've always got really high expectations of you, like extremely high, and it's always really important to try and get there, and it really pushes you, and you push yourself, and you learn so many things just in life in general, and how to keep going and push through things, and you know how working hard really, really does pay off. And Falcons probably proves that the best for me.
You all mentioned what position you all played on the court or going to play on the court. If you had a preferred position where you loved to convince Marg and Richo to put you, where would that be?
I 100% am going to say wing attack and goalkeeper. I remember like in a practice, like, you know, before we went into lockdown the first time, and we played just like some matches with rolling, like just fun as the whole club. We played rolling subs and everything, just mixed teams. And I remember Jane went into goalkeeper, and like obviously she plays a little bit of that too. So I was like, and Sonia Harris was my coach for this team that I was playing in at training. And I asked her, I was like, can I go into goalkeeper too? And she asked Marg, and Marg was like, nah. And I was like, I just wanted to play there so bad. But if I had to choose anywhere that I could play, it'd be wing attack.
Yeah, I'd probably be the same. Like if the one position I'd probably really want to play is wing attack, because like I love centre because you can play both attacking and defending. But yeah, if I could play one position, it'd probably be wing attack.
I don't know. I'm a bit torn by this. I love playing centre, and that's my preferred position. But if I had to choose another one, I would choose probably goal attack, because it always seems really fun and fancy. And when you get a goal in, everyone's like praising you, and it's never like the mids that get it down there, and it's always the shooter who gets it in from all the way out. So I'd love to be a shooter and get them in though, of course.
Now, what would be your advice to our listeners out there that think about playing netball in the country?
I would say just keep going. Like I didn't play any interleague. I didn't play any representative teams. I was just playing at Torquay, and Sonia just said, go trial here. So I did. So I reckon, like, when you get those opportunities, just take them. Like, if I hadn't have gone to those trials that I didn't really want to go to that day, I wouldn't have been playing and kept going through, and then obviously getting selected in other teams. So I think that just, like, keep going. Like, if you like netball, just keep playing. Even if you don't think you're getting anywhere, just, like, keep, like, playing, and eventually, like, if you're good enough, things are going to come your way, and just take those opportunities.
Yeah, and like just don't take no as a never, take no as a not yet. And like what Daisy said, just keep going. Like at the end of the day, you can only push yourself so hard, and you're the only person that can get yourself there. So if you really want it, then work for it, and you'll achieve exactly what you want, and you'll get there.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. I think, every athlete has those people who tell them that they can't do it and they're not skilled enough. And I think, the more you work and the harder you work at it and the more effort you put in, if you really want to get somewhere, you will get there. It's just how persistent you are with it. And, coming to play in Melbourne, if you're out from the country, is a really, really good idea. It opens so many opportunities, and as fun as it is playing local clubs, you can play there forever. But if you really want to get somewhere, I'd come to Melbourne.
Now, let's finish up with a couple of lighthearted questions about the Falcons or your local team. Firstly, who's the comedian in your local team first?
I would have to say it's Tiana Newman. Oh, she's from A grade. She's an unreal netball player, and she's almost 30 and she acts like a child. She's always running around and slapping you on the bum, saying good job and hyping you up, and just always giggling and having fun. She's so fun. She's a great person to be around.
Mine would be similar to Liv. Jess Stanfield again. She is like mid-30s, and she's just like, you wouldn't know it. Like, she's the first to beat ever. Like, she's ready to party whenever there is. She's always like making jokes that you wouldn't usually hear out of a mid-30-year-old's mouth. And she has 2 kids, and yeah, she's just like always making these jokes and stuff at training and just having fun and making like fun out of nothing. So yeah, I would say her.
Yeah, probably from my club, I would say in A grade, Ali Lawton. She's not in her 30s, but she's quite young still, but she's an absolute crack up. Like, she'll always make a joke out of things. She'll always make you smile if you're down, always like pick you up, and just she's like Daisy said, always ready to party whenever someone says like hello. Like, she's just always on her toes and just always ready to pep you up and everything like that.
I'd also actually have to say Sonia Harris at Torquay. She's always got something to say.
Yes, that's true. Well, I guess you might be included in the next question. Same question, but for the Falcons.
I'd say Sonia Harris as well, and Caitlin Hill.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she's just so like out of it. She just doesn't know what's going on half the time. That she just like just funny because of the way she responds to things, and it's just completely wrong.
Oh, Caitlin's gonna love this.
Yeah, I have to agree with Daisy completely. Those two are so funny, and I haven't been around long enough to really hear all the stuff that they say, but I know when we go on little things, they just say some things that you just go, how do you think of that? And it just cracks you up laughing in the middle of some drill you're doing or whatever you're doing, and they can always just make you smile and make training a bit more lighthearted.
Yeah, I would agree, like 100%. And I must admit that this was shown very much so on our pre-season camp when we were all sitting around the table and just playing a card game or something. Like Sonia or Caitlin would come out with something, and I must admit, I think I got like the giggles at some stage because I just could not stop laughing at some of the things. And even at Like, sometimes it's not even funny what they say, it's just how they say it, and it's just, I just can't stop laughing sometimes.
I'd also actually have to say Ellie Keating. She's so quiet, like she's not quiet, but like she acts so quiet, and then she'll just say all these little comments, like very sly, but like they're just so funny, because she just like, you never really, like, she's not a really loud person at training or anything, but when she says like little things, they're actually quality funny.
Now, who's the best singer and dancer at your respective clubs? Local clubs, that is.
I don't know who the best singer is. I don't really think there's too many good singers down at Torquay. But best dancer, I'm going to say Chris Truan. Anyone that hears this will know that that's a joke. But she likes to get the moves on, even though she can't really do it, because she's just so... she just can't. She has no flow in her body. And she's nearly 40, so we'll give her that.
I don't even know. I would probably say like the most entertaining dancer and singer from what I've seen in videos and that sort of thing would probably be Ali Lawton again. But I would probably dob in like Riley Gallagher. She's one of my friends from in one of my teams. She loves to sing, but praise the poor darling. I sometimes wish I had earphones, but it's sometimes the best thing ever just to watch. It's just classic. I love it.
Oh, I would have to say the best singer would be Maddie Stewart, and if she heard me say that, she would laugh. She would laugh so hard, because it's quite ear piercing, but it is so funny to listen to and entertains me no end. And the best dancer, again, I reckon would be Tiana. Tinny is so funny when she dances, and she starts copying everyone else, and it's just good fun with them all around, and all their hyped up energies and just mucking around and singing and dancing and carrying on, but they have to be the best at it.
Have either of you found a hidden talent that you didn't think you had?
Yeah, I can do like handstands and like handstands on my neck really well. Like I can do those cool like little yoga moves where you like bend and twist sort of thing.
I don't really have any hidden talents. Just what you see, nothing else.
I gotta think. I think my hidden talent would be, I've suddenly discovered that I'm really, really flexible. I don't know how, I didn't realise it before, but over quarantine I've just been stretching a bit, and I've been bending over backwards and doing all that type of stuff. It's just bizarre, I guess.
Actually, I do have one. I actually discovered I'm actually quite a creative person. I don't usually do I don't do art at school or anything, but like I've done a few different things like through it, and I'm capable of doing it better than I thought I would. So that would probably be it.
Who's the best singer and dancer at Falcons?
I could probably say the best TikTok dancer would be like either Ali or Hannah. But yeah, probably like with Daisy, the best singer would probably be Lucia.
I'd also, even though it's not a standout, but Emma Walters, I feel like she's secretly good at singing and dancing, but obviously she doesn't sing or dance, but I think if she tried, she actually could be. She's just good at everything anyway, so.
I don't know who's the best. I don't think I've been around long enough to kind of see or hear anyone sing and dance too much, but have seen Crofty bust a few moves, and it's quite entertaining. Not very often, but when she does, they're quite interesting, that's to say the least.
Yes, I agree with all of them there. Yes, I've been around long enough to know that. And one last one, how special to have Smash FM as a team sponsor?
Very.
Yeah, very special and it's good to hear about everyone else as well. Not just like obviously doing these interviews, but hearing like you learn about not even just like the other players at Falcons, but the other people that you sponsor as well.
Yeah, it's been great. It's so much fun, and even you joining all the Zoom classes, it's great to hear. And as the coaches yell out improvements for not only us girls but for you too, it's it's good. It's really good fun, and it's good everyone's getting involved. And yeah.
All three, thank you so much for giving up your time to join us. It's awesome having all three on the show. Obviously, we'll hopefully get to catch up again, hopefully in person this time, once we all get out of lockdown here in Melbourne in particular. But obviously, hopefully restrictions ease more in the country for yourselves.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
No worries. And that's Liv, Daisy and Jazz there, of course, from the City West Falcons, of course, as part of our country series. Of course, there'll be more to come in the next couple of weeks right after this. Yes, welcome everyone here to the Smash Sports Show right here on Smash FM here on Lockdown Wednesday here in Melbourne. And of course, let's continue our country series in particular with the City West Falcons, one of our sponsored teams. And of course, we've got three very special guests on the show who, just like me, just came from a Zoom training course session tonight, and they join us right now. Thanks all of you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No worries. Well, get each of you introduce yourselves and what position we would normally see all you on the court.
I'm Elsie Boyer and I play centre, wing attack, wing defence.
I'm Sophie Garner and I play some mid-court and some goals as well.
And I'm Molly Kennedy and I play wing defence, goal defence.
Now, I think we mentioned that obviously you played one or two games or a couple of games in the local competition before the restrictions completely shut the season down. I guess tell us how good to at least play some sort of netball games before the restrictions shut the whole season down.
Yeah, it was good just to get out on the court and I guess play.
Yeah, I think we're lucky to get that one game in compared to others who didn't get any.
Yeah, I agree. It was good to get out there, but obviously disappointing that it had to stop. But yeah, it was good to have a run around.
When it all, I guess, when you got back on the court to play one or two games throughout the season, were you optimistic that you could at least finish the set, continue on the season and finish it off, or were you a bit concerned that it was going to shut down at any point?
I felt like I was expecting it to get stopped after a few games, and I was a bit annoyed that we kind of even started just getting hyped up and then getting told it was cancelled, which was a bit annoying.
Yeah, I think it was we were lucky to get that one game in. I think it was always going to be tough to have a season under the circumstances, obviously. So yeah, I kind of thought that what happened might have been the case. So yeah.
Yeah, I thought we'd get more than one game.
So I'll get all you to tell us what teams you all play for locally.
I'm the odd one out. I play at TAT, which is a bit out of Shep.
Yeah, and I play for Shep United.
And I play at Shep United too.
Tell us a bit about your respective teams, and I guess tell us a couple of players in your team we should watch out for in the future, and you can't include yourselves.
Well, my club probably isn't as successful as United, but We're in the building stage, and a player you should watch out for is probably Steph Gorry.
From Shep United, I'd have to say Jessie Barnes, who's obviously already in Falcons, but she's definitely one to watch out for, I reckon.
Yeah, I agree. Jessie Barnes. Yeah, she's one to look out for.
Now, of course, making the decision to come down to Melbourne and be part of the Falcons, and especially the VNL program, what convinced all three to do that?
I think just get some exposure to like the next level of playing, and just to improve and better ourselves on the netball court.
Yeah, Jessie, again, she encouraged us to go down and have a go. And yeah, I think it's just really good to get that exposure and knowledge that the coaches bring down there.
Yeah, probably just the coaches like Jessie and Bree and so who encouraged us and told us about it and said like it'd be a good opportunity to see if like we could make anything down there.
Now, I know the drive is about 2.5 hours from where you all are in the Shepparton area, the Long Valley area. I guess, how do you manage to make that long drive all the way to Altona?
Harpool. We rotate around, us three girls and Jessie, who drives. Obviously, our parents drive us. But yeah.
Yeah, a lot of sleeping in the car, especially from Molly. And some funny conversations.
Yeah.
It makes it easier though, because it saves like, at least then there's only one parent each time, like every 4 weeks or whatever going down instead of all of us.
Yeah. It takes a load off all our working parents, being able to share it around.
Now, talking about your parents, tell us how special it is to have your parents, I guess, so supportive through all your netball journeys, and especially making this commitment to go to the Falcons.
Well, if we didn't have them, I don't think we'd be doing any of this. So we're very, 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 very lucky to have them.
Yeah, very lucky. It's much appreciated, all the running around they do for us.
Now, tell us a bit about your local club's coaches and what have you learnt from them?
Well, this year we had Georgia Ryan come out, but she was joining the police academy. So pre-season, we didn't really get to see her very much. But last year we had Gaten, who taught a lot of skills. Yeah.
We have like a couple, like Tanya Orchard, and then Jessie Barnes helps out a lot with a few of the different teams, and they're both like, Jessie will bring back things that she's learnt from the Falcons, which really helps improve and like ups the intensity at our trainings, and like teaches all the girls a lot of new stuff.
And the same with all that knowledge from the Falcons, and makes our trainings more intense.
Now, obviously, we've just all come from the Zoom session with the Falcons tonight. I guess, what have you been doing other than that to keep yourselves motivated to hopefully get back on the court in 2021?
I've been running with my brother once a week, gone a bit of a long run. And other than that, I just make sure I plan out like every day a workout to do, and lots of walking because there's nothing else to do during the day.
Yeah, I'm the same. I've been running a bit just by myself, and just making sure I get a workout in most days. So yeah,
same with me, just trying to run as often as I can and just try to do something active each day.
Now, what have you learnt from doing these Zoom sessions with the Falcons at the moment?
To not drop your legs while you're doing the ab exercises.
Yeah, pretty much. They've been good, the Zoom sessions. I really enjoy them.
It's been good, the variety as well, like having Shadi some nights and Maggie. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And having Adam and that, yeah, I reckon they've been really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're all different. Like Adam's exercises are different than Shardy's are, Maggie's.
Keeps them interesting.
Tell us, how did Audie get involved in netball and why did you choose it?
Well, my mum played netball, and from when I was like a month old, I was going to country footy in the local clubs. So I've always was gonna play netball.
Yeah, I'm the same. My mum played netball and my older sister. So I was always at the footy and stuff every weekend. And yeah, we just did net set go and all that, which is just kind of the thing I don't know you did. And yeah, I just joined from there.
Yeah, my mum and sister played netball too, and then like in primary school, just I don't know, just netball was kind of the thing to do, I guess. Like just as a fun kind of thing, and then just kind of continued on from that just as I grew up.
Now, of course,
Did we all do net set go? Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did net set go.
Yeah.
in the country, of course, most people associate netball with the football netball side of things, as all three have been involved in with your local clubs there, Tatura and of course in Shep United. Tell us, for everyone here in Melbourne who don't understand how important country football netball is to the community. Tell us, how special is it to be part of that football netball setting?
Yeah, well, I guess in TAT, week in, week out, it brings lots of different people to the town, which obviously creates money for the bakeries and stuff, as we don't have a high school or anything. So it's super special to be a part of the club.
Yeah, I think it brings a lot of people, and it's just kind of the thing that you do. Like you just go to the footy with your mates and stuff like that. So yeah, it's always fun. It's really enjoyable.
Yeah, I reckon it like brings a lot of the community together. Like everyone just kind of comes to watch, and everyone will meet up there and just watch it all together.
It's a real family feel at all the clubs.
There will be some highlights throughout all three your netball journey so far.
We haven't been as successful on the court as what we'd hoped, but probably best and fairest.
Probably winning premierships has been the best part, I suppose.
Yeah, same with me. The premierships on myself too.
Now, I'm going to ask this question to all three of you. It's a similar question, but obviously I'm going to word it a little bit differently, the way that he's going to answer it. What does win a best and fairest for you, Elsie, and obviously for Molly and Sophie, what does it mean to win a premiership? What does that all mean to all three of you?
Well, it's very it's a special moment, and it's one to remember, but your heart's just pumping. That's all I can say. You get the sweats.
Yeah, it's just it's very rewarding for all the hard work you've done throughout the season. Yeah, it's just good to, I don't know, win with your friends. Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon it definitely feels good to like think that after like all the hard work you've put into the season is like paid off, and you get something from all that.
Similar question, but this time, what does the sport of netball mean to all three, and especially being part of your local clubs there at TAT and Shep United?
It's everything. Like, I haven't known what to do with myself. Like, it's week in, week out. You're at the footy club 3 days a week at least. Yeah, so it's been very different this year.
Yeah, I suppose I really enjoy like the social side of it. That's one of the big things I've missed is just like going to trainings and Thursday night dinners and stuff like that. Yeah, that's one of the parts I really like about netball.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Like just seeing everyone before Saturday and after when you're playing, like at trainings, just getting to talk and catch up and talk about netball pretty much. That's definitely been missed this year.
What is special about being part of the City West Falcons?
I think it's so special that we get the like level of coaching that's there with Richo and Marg coaching, with like that they've coached at the elite level, and we're super lucky to have that knowledge.
Yeah, I agree. I think the coaching is really good, like the knowledge they bring. And also the players that they're all really good, and that trainings, you know, you get pushed and then they're really intense, which is sometimes like not what we get at home. Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon having the opportunity to like train against players of that level and getting coached to be trained as like good as what they are.
Do either of you have any future ambitions in the sport of netball?
Obviously the dream goal would be to play like for the Diamonds, but that's a lot of hard work.
Yeah, I'm a bit the same, but obviously it's a bit, I don't know, pretty hard to get there, just wherever
Whatever
it takes
happens,
us really.
happens.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a bit the same.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to try and see how far I can get and hope I can get further. But yeah.
Obviously, Molly and Sophie plays for the same team. Have you tried to convince Elsie to jump into your team, or has she tried to convince both of you to jump onto her team?
Oh, I think we've tried to convince each other to come, but we won't budge.
Yeah.
So how difficult is it to play against each other then?
Oh, it's like hell. So hard.
Yeah, it's terrible. Much rather be on the
And we
same
always
team.
seem to be like matched up. Mm.
Yeah, like always directly on them every time for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nicer being on the same team than playing against each other. Can confirm that.
Now, what would be your advice to our listeners out there that should play netball in the country, especially at your respective clubs?
Just trial, give it a go, and keep training hard if you get set back.
Yeah, I reckon definitely just give it a go, and if you like it, then just keep going to see how far you can get.
Yeah, I agree. Just give it a go. And if you enjoy it, then just see where it takes you, I suppose.
Now, of course, let's finish up with a couple of light-hearted questions about your local team in particular. Any embarrassing moments by anyone in pre-season, at training, or during one game?
I remember that one game where Molly wore 2 different shoes.
You have to bring it up again.
Yeah, I'll have to bring that one up again. Yeah, she played in 2 different types of shoes, which was quite funny.
Sorry, Molly, I'm going to have to bring this question up again. When did you realise you did that?
I knew I did it, but like, because I had one good shoe and then I had one not so good shoe. I mean, I had my 2 not good shoes and then I had one good shoe because I lost my other one. And then I thought if I wear at least one good shoe, then I'll play half, like better than what I would with the 2 not so good shoes. So I just thought I'd switch it up and wear one of each and hope that it helped with my game.
And how did that go, Molly?
I think it went all right. Probably better than what it did with my normal shoes, I reckon.
That's a good thing. Now, who's the comedian in your local team?
Jordan Dealey.
I reckon Keely Cox at ours.
Yeah.
Best singer and dancer at your local team?
Definitely not me in either department.
Yeah, I actually don't really know. It's definitely not me. I can't sing or dance to save myself, but I don't know. Can you think of anyone, Molly?
It'd probably either just be Keely or Ala Dickens. Probably those two together, I reckon.
Have you convinced any of your local teammates to try VNL?
Steph Gorry, I think he's going to trial again. She's already played in VNL but had the year off.
I haven't yet, but I haven't spoken to much of my team since there hasn't been much of a season, but I'll definitely put the word out and see if, because we've got a lot of girls that are definitely good enough to trial, so.
Yeah, I'm a bit the same as Molly. Haven't really spoken to many of the teammates, but yeah, I'd definitely recommend it to them. There's a lot that are capable of doing that level, so yeah.
Now, we'll finish off with 3 final ones, which is, I know there's this thing called TikTok. Is anyone at your local club just using it so much?
Not that
I'd say Ella again. Pretty sure she gets on that a fair bit.
Yeah, Ella gets around the old TikTok a fair bit.
Of course, I have to ask this one as well. During the isolation and restrictions that you have, obviously you're not in the lockdown that we have in Melbourne, but have you found a hidden talent or tried something new that you didn't think you had or you didn't think you could do?
I played like 3 notes on the piano at our house. Can do the intro to A Million Dreams. That's all.
I don't think I've discovered I can do anything fancy. I'm just not very talented at much, to be honest with you. So, not really, no.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same. Just figured out that I just can never catch a fish, but it's nothing new.
We'll finish off with this one last one, which is obviously Smash FM's been a sponsor of the City West Falcons. How special to have Smash FM as a sponsor?
Super special, because if we didn't have Smash FM, we wouldn't be the club that we are, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. They're a major reason as to why we can go out and train and play every week. Well, we used to be able to.
Yeah, very lucky, I reckon, to have yous on the side of the Falcons.
Well, all three, thank you so much for getting up your time to join us after a very tough session tonight, must say. Just done it myself with all of you. Obviously, best of luck, obviously, and hopefully we can get back on the court very soon, either for the Falcons or for your local clubs, and hopefully we can get some sort of game time in 2021.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No worries, and that's it. Els, Soph and Molly there from, of course, the Gone Valley area, of course, part of the City West Falcons Country Series that we have. Of course, there's more on the Smash Sports Show right after this. Don't go away here on Lockdown Wednesday.